Alright, finally back outside. I really need to figure out the cluster light problem. I got my LEDs here. If I cannot figure it out, I'll just put alternative light. $10 for those instead of like 65 for a new cluster. That might give me problems down the road. I did check the fuse. I just checked it now. The second one here, you can see cluster. It's fine, 10 amp. It's perfectly fine. But I figured I'd check that. Diagnose that right away. Because, I don't want to fuck around. It's just a fuse. So right now I'm going to take apart the cluster and see where I can maybe hook up these lights alternatively or something like that. At the same time, while I'm outside, nice weather, I figured it doesn't look like I took off the wheels and looked at the drums. It doesn't seem like my cables are broke. Just seems like they're really loose and need to be adjusted. You can almost see the adjusting nut is at the end. But it could be brought up a lot more. So I'm going to check that out too as well. And get that done. Maybe we'll have some parking brakes, which would be really good for a manual vehicle. You guys are going to laugh. It took me a whole 2 minutes, okay? I got obviously the wire that has the white stripe. Well, this is the black one. It's kind of hard to see because there's like a glare. With this one, the white stripe, that's the positive. The other one's a negative. I stuck the negative on a bolt back here to make a ground. And then I was looking at the harness, and it's like the two lights, which is this one and this one, that light up the dash. Well, you follow it, it all leads back to this one. And this one goes over, and it comes to the first one here. So my last harness, the last plug on the side, well, I flipped it over, would be this one, which is the green one here. I put the positive to the lead on there, and when I turned the light on, the lead turned on. So it's working. It's working with the light switch here, which is awesome. And for ground, it looks like it comes over to the bolt here. But I'm thinking, if these lights aren't turning on, there might be a faulty ground, and there's like a solenoid in here, like a white piece, which I really don't care because I'll ground my wires on something else. But it's pretty cool that I just figured out how I could install this without too much fucking around. So I'm going to probably bring the cluster inside and see where I can place the lights on the inside and try to pass the wires through somewhere. Probably use these holes here, take those original bulbs out, and try that out. Alright, with the cluster taken apart, very careful not to break gauges and stuff like that. This is very intricate pieces of technology, or whatever you want to call it. I think actually these are mechanical, because yeah, they are mechanical because they're not digital, that's for sure. But I think this black little box here is what's giving us trouble with the original lights, and I can't really get to it because it's like it's got like plastic filler in it. I don't know, but this is what we've got going on so far. I've got the lights placed like this. I am heating up the glue gun because the strips are kind of, I don't know if I can trust them, and I don't feel like taking apart the cluster again just because one of these strips fell. I have the wires passing out here and here. I'm going to also hot glue that down. Nothing is in the way of the original bulbs or anything like that. So that is really cool. At the same time, while I'm in here, I'll probably clean up the surfaces of the cluster because it kind of looks dirty. It is dirty. Take some Windex to it. And that's where I'm at right now, peeps. Alright, hot glued in. Very useful hot glue, but fuck, I hate working with that. Spider wire, shit, whatever you want to call it, all over the place. But anyways, they're in. Nice and solid. I won't have to worry about them falling around. Now let's see if the cluster fits in there with, something backspaced in there. Alright, got everything, wired up. Well, not really wired up, but screwed back in, placed. I'm leaving the original ones in there, but I took off like the amber color, so if they do light up, like my wife was saying, at least they'll light up white, the same color as the LEDs that I did buy. but I doubt it very much that it's going to light up because it hasn't been working, you know. But just in case. So the wires are coming out here. It didn't come in contact with anything in there. Maybe the speedometer itself on the right side was lifted up maybe a millimeter, but it doesn't even show really in the cluster itself. So let's get outside. I'm going to get my wire cutters and get to work. Alright, round two. Well, I had them placed behind the cluster as you guys saw. Plugged them in the car, found a spot, you know, for the lights to work and all that. Go to turn it on, nothing. Excuse me. Nothing, so it's round two. We're sticking them on top here, like so. Right now I got some hot glue. I'm going to do another little bead on the edge here so they stay. I'm going to drill a small hole here. Pass the wires up nice and clean. It won't show, but I can't put the leads in behind because it doesn't shine through. So, fucking trial and error. And also I went around the park outside with the car and the fucking brakes let go. So now I got that to go check out. I was talking about how that was something that I needed to do, but I didn't really want to do it now. I was hopefully hoping that it would hold up till March, April, but I guess not. So I guess we're gonna fucking do some Hyundai brakes. You have to assess the problem. I'm pretty sure it's a line that broke, but we'll check that out. And I also know the rear needs to be adjusted and etc., etc. So after I'm done with the cluster and it's all back in the car, I guess we're gonna jump on the brakes. I'm gonna start today and see what I got going on tomorrow. I know I gotta go to Barrie tomorrow, but I might not go because I got no fucking brakes on the car, and I don't really want to take the van down to Barrie because it's like half an hour away. It's going to cost about $60 of gas just to go there with the van. So, unless I can fix the problem with the brakes tonight and maybe tomorrow morning, then we can go. But anyways, let's get this cluster together. Alright, so splice the two wires that I'm going to be soldering into. One got my solder gun. The lights are placed up top. And right now that's all I got to do. Just solder them in. Got my black tape, clean it up, put the cluster back in. Bingo. Then we're on to brakes, which I didn't really want to do. Alright peeps, everything's back in there. You kind of see the LEDs. There you go. I don't think it's going to be too distractive at night, but it's better than not having any cluster lights at all. And I've done everything. Looked at the bulbs, looked at the fuses, looked at the wiring, looked at everything. Took in the cluster apart, cleaned the connections, lifted up the connectors so they have a better connection with the plasticky circuit board on the back of the cluster. I mean, I've done everything. So this is the best I can do with the money I have. I'm not super rich. I really don't feel like paying $70 on eBay plus shipping and waiting for another cluster, or getting one locally at the junkyard that could probably end up doing the same thing 2 months down the road. This LEDs, it's going to last forever. And it works with the, you know, it's not like an auxiliary power where I plug it into the cigarette lighter and there's not wires all hanging. So it's not as super clean as I wanted it to be, because I wanted it to be like behind, but you know, this'll do. Cool peeps. Now I guess we're on to brakes. Woohoo! Fuck, out of all places, I figured I'd pop the hood, and I was just gonna check and see how much oil I was losing. And I start to look, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of oil. Where's that coming from? Ha ha! So it is a line, and it's right there. It should be a pretty easy fix. How's this one looking? That one's gonna need to be done eventually as well. It's a little bit longer though. It's good to know. It's just a line and it's there. So I guess I'll go get my tools and stuff. Take her apart. Go to Canadian Tire and get a new line. Slap it on there. Bleed the system. Or bleed this one wheel here. And that'll be it. Alright, first part like always. If you don't have an impact, loosen those nuts on the wheel before you jack it up. Get your jack. You line it up with the table or whatever. Jack it up. It's important to always put a jack stand when you're working. Got my tools, a little mat to lean on. Um, looks like it's this one over here. Right there, comes through. You got a bolt right there. It goes in. Then it goes to the caliper, which we're going to get to and see what's the matter. Alright peeps, working in the dark, so the line, I was able to take it out. I'll get a new one Monday because they don't have, well, they have one in stock, but it's like 3 times the length I need. So what I did is I bent this one up higher than the master cylinder and refilled the cylinder with oil so it doesn't leak overnight and empty the master cylinder, because then I'll have a friggin' big problem with bleeding everything. Now I'll just have to do that one line that goes to this this wheel here, and I refilled it with some brake oil, .3, so it should be good till Monday. We're Saturday. So what I'm planning on doing right now, it is dark, but I know the rear needs to be adjusted, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those tires off, jack it up and put it on jack stands so that tomorrow during the day I can easily just get on there and adjust the drums. And also I'm going to try to, the only problem I have is the flexible here. The last part is part of the hose and I'm having a lot of trouble getting it out of there. So I'm going to see what I can do with that. Alright peeps. Alright peeps. Good news, I was able to take the part out of the flexible that was stuck there last night. I got a good pair of vice grips and I used a 11mm socket to retract it. So that's good. We're ready for the new hose. I also went over the rear. Most definitely needs to be done. Be taken apart, and you know, I was going to take it apart, but the springs in there are really small and I didn't want to spend the whole day on just the drums unless I have new parts and have a reason to take it all apart, because I was going to take it all apart and kind of clean it, buff it with the wire wheel and stuff like that. This one's still a little loose, the adjuster's jammed, and the piston looks good in there, well, the wheel cylinder. This side I have one side that's stuck, this side, the other side's working, so that'll be something to do when it's gotten a bit nicer weather out. So I'm going to slap the wheels back on, go get the brake line probably today, get that figured out, and then she'll be back on the road. Cool peeps, catch you later. Alright peeps, I got the wheels back on nice and tight. I'm on the inside right now, as you can see. It's full of steam in the windows, but I'm working on the cluster again. Sorry about the camera view, Bob was pulling on my hand that was holding the camera. But the LEDs are a good idea, but they're just a little bit too bright. So I think I have a quick fix. I'm going to bring Bob back inside because he's whining in the car. And also I tightened the handbrake yesterday. And I was just sitting there and I was like, if the cables haven't moved for a while, they might be seized a little bit because it felt really tight. And then I was playing with it and playing with it. And now I can pull the handbrake all the way up to the top. So I'm going to readjust it again. Maybe I freed it up a little bit, or something in the drums today when I was playing around with it, because I kind of cleaned them out and knocked them around a bit to loosen things up. So that might be able to fix that like that. And yeah, I'm gonna bring Bob in, and then I'll continue with you guys with the dash and the handbrake. All right, so back in the vehicle, I went and had my breakfast, which consists of very green juice. Lots of green vegetables that I put through the juicer, and that's my first meal of the day. I also have lunch that way too, and I eat a solid meal at night. But that'll be another vlog. So this is my cluster. I already did one side. So at night, it shines up good. It's really bright, and it kind of hits in your eyes. So what I'm going to do is I put a strip of black tape over 3 of the diodes. I think they're called diodes. I sound like I'm speaking Chinese. But just to give 1 LED over the heat and the gas here, and a total of 4 over the speedometer, because it's a big area to clear, well, to light up. And I'm going to have 1 over the RPMs, so it'll be enough, and it won't hit in the eyes as much like this side compared to that side. So we'll see tonight. it's not bright enough, I'll open up another LED or something like that. The thing is I could cut it here and have 3 LEDs, but I still want one over here to, you know, light this up, because if I cover this up, it's like I get no light at all over, you know, the extremity gauges and stuff like that. So I think this is a quick and easy fix for now. So let me get this bundled up and screwed back in the dash and show you what it looks like. Alright, took me a whole like 2 minutes to put it all back together. This is kind of what it looks like. They still pop out, but I mean, there's 3 of them that are hidden, so it's not so bad. And you know, you'll have the rest of everything else in the dash that's lit up. If I knew more about, oh my god, focus, wiring and stuff like that, I would have hooked it up with the dimmer. Maybe I could give that a look, see if I can't run 2 wires that connect to the LEDs. Then I could dim them down a little bit. Wouldn't be so bad. But right now, it's a good fix. At least we can see the speed we're going at night, and etc, etc. You know, I like to watch a temperature gauge. It's a good indication if something's happening or whatever. And that's it. Cool peeps. Catch you later.